Hello, fellow reader. Join me, I am your host, Sansi. Dive into the world of magic and explore the most stories full of wonder, fantastical delights. Open your eyes and see the parade come to life. Sansi's parade, Sansi's parade. Join the parade, Sansi's parade, parade. Sansi's parade, Sansi's parade. Join the parade, Sansi's parade.
A volley of a time. The hard ground is soon replaced with sand. Running on the beach, you can hear two sets of footsteps behind you kicking up sand. A small shiver of fear travels down your spine at the familiar scenario, but you quickly repress it. Things are different now. You hope. Dust is standing in front of you with a bag and towel resting at his feet. A smug smile paints his skull as he rocks back and forth on his heels. You try to slow down, but it's too late. Your momentum propels you into him. He doesn't budge as you bounce back from the impact, feeling one arm wrapping around your hip while the other gently grips your wrist. Looking up at him, you see a hint of adoration in his eyelights and a familiar smirk on his teeth. A deep husky chuckle escapes him, causing his ribcage to vibrate against your own, sending small waves of pleasure down your spine. Leaning down to your ear canal, he whispers, "I win," in a seductive tone. Your bones rattle, producing a string of slurred notes. You cheated, so it doesn't count. You think, annoyed that he doesn't have telepathy as you unknowingly press your body closer to his. His eyelights expands, becoming hazy around the edges. "Never said I couldn't use magic," he growls, as if he heard your thoughts. His magic shifts, preparing to teleport when suddenly, you're ripped from his arms. "Y/N? How did you get here so fast?" Jupiter yells as he spins you around and away from dust. You manage to catch the glares they send to each other while focusing on keeping your body together. "Yes, I demand to know how you can move so fast." Black commands, coming up to join your group. Your aura dims instantly as you take a step back. Jupiter shifts you in his hold, so he's blocking your view of Black. Looking off to the side, Black's shoulders sag as he takes a step back. A hint of disappointment mixing in with his usual scowl. Patting Jupiter's arm, you signal him to put you down. Once you're standing on your own, you sign. "I'm just used to it." Skeletons or mystic skeletons are good at running on any type of soil. You answer. "We're also really good at working with a variety of soils." You state proudly. Jupiter places a hand on his chin in a thoughtful manner. "Do you want me to show you how to run on sand?" you ask. Jupiter eagerly nods his head while Black continues to pout off to the side. Cautiously stepping into his view, "Do you want to join us?" He stares at you with wide sockets. His mouth opens before he promptly shuts it. A light blush dusting his cheekbones. "Yes." He replays in a quiet and calm voice. Your aura brightens as your music becomes cheerful. A gentle smile graces his skull before it's replaced with his usual scowl. Turning to dust, "Do you want to join too?" you tease, already knowing the answer. With a huff he stuffs his hands in his jacket pocket. "Now wait for the rotten fish." He points to the two skeletons lazily making their way over. Bone rattling in amusement, you nod your head and turn your attention back to the energetic skeletons. You're not sure how to teach them since this is something that comes naturally to you. "How about you guys run to the shore and back and I'll observe your form." With a nod, they take off, kicking up sand as they go. With each step they take, their feet sink about an inch or two in the sand, causing them to pick up or kick up a lot of sand. It's like their feet are ineffectively shoveling sand as they run. You wave the two energetic skeletons back while trying to figure out what advice to give. Once they're standing in front of you, you inspect their feet to see why they're shoveling sand. As it turns out, their feet resembles human feet. Made of solid bone instead of a combination of bones, skin and muscle. From the head of the metatarsals to the tip of the calcaneus is one solid malleable bone plate. Their toe phalanges are similar to their finger phalanges, appearing more like human toes made of bone, rather than tiny bones magically being held together. Wiggling your toes. I think I know what the problem is. You state, while looking from your feet to theirs. They look from their feet to yours, trying to see what you're getting at. Jupiter speaks up. You do? He asks, slightly confused yet intrigued. You start by explaining what's hindering them, the difference between your feet and theirs, the force at which they run with, and their running posture. Then you demonstrate how you run, your posture, and how little your feet disturb the sand underneath. They didn't take long to catch on, already having previous experience with running on snow. Soon their posture is better and steps lighter, while they kept their feet from dragging or lifting the sand. Once they have the hang of it, they challenge you to another race. It sounds tempting, but the thought of Black chasing you and how he might react to you winning causes you to hesitate. A tsking sound comes from Black. You don't have to if you don't want to, he states, scowling off to the side. I'll just trace Jupiter when you're done. He turns to walk away, but you grab his arm. Shaking your head, you sign I'm okay with it. It does scare you a bit, but he's already chased you earlier today and he didn't hurt you, nor did you feel any hostile intent from him. His relationship with Jupiter is slowly getting better, and you can tell he's trying his best not to scare you, which you greatly appreciate. A soft glow emits from your aura. We can all race together, from the shore to the others. First one that wins. His eyelids looks away from you as a royal blue blush spreads across his face. He moves his mouth to speak but settles for a nod instead. The three of you line up along the shore, the waves tickling your ankles as you prepare to race to the lazy boys. The lineup is you, Jupiter, and Black. Jupiter is acting as a sort of barrier between the two of you. 3, 2, 1. Go. Everyone takes off at the same time, but you're faster. They improved a lot in such a short period of time. It doesn't take them long before they manage to catch up to you. Picking up speed, you increase the gap between you and them. Usually Jupiter's long legs would give him an advantage, but not in this case. You easily stay in front of them, with Jupiter and Black fighting to maintain second place. Reaching the lazy skeletons, you slow down, coming to a gentle stop in front of them. The lazier of the skeletons have already set up the beach blanket and the umbrella. Mars and Dust are sleeping on the blanket. Walrus is sundowning on the beach chair, standing over your skellies. So, who's the rotten fish? You ask with teasing hands. They point their thumbs in the direction of the sun-tanning skeleton. You're a bit surprised. The last you saw, Mars was in last place with a decent-sized gap between him and Rus. Sure, he can teleport, but then again, both of them can, and Rus seems to have more magic power than Mars. A soft soothing lullaby washes over them as you flop on Mars, nuzzling into his neck. They didn't miss how your shock or returned smug with pride at hearing Mars had beaten Rus in the race. A light blush paints his cheekbones as he pulls you closer, nuzzling the top of your skull. He didn't think much of his victory, he just didn't want to be called that, even if it was a joke. He may not be the strongest skeleton, but he'd challenge them again if he got to see that aura again. Tired already? Dust teases, laying a little further away than before. Shifting in Mars hold you awkwardly sign, don't tell them, but that was more of a leisurely jog than a race. Which is true, as bad as it may sound. They didn't put up much of a challenge despite their improvements. Arms tighten around you as Black finally makes it to the group with Jupiter right behind him. Good race. He glances down at the arms around you before nodding his head slowly. "Why, are you tried already?" Jupiter asks as he comes to a stop in front of you. He glances down at the arms around you. A series of emotions flickers across his face before it returns to normal. It's weird to see a mystic skeleton with malleable features. Shaking your head, you sit up with Mars coming with you, so you're sitting in his lap. Nope, just enjoying victory cuddles. You tease, snuggling deeper into Mars' hold. Mars snorts in your ear canal as Black levels you with a disapproving look. Jupiter tilts his head in question, but you have no fizz. He trails off as the pun clicks in his head. Turning on his heels, he walks away, causing Mars and Dust to burst out laughing. Your rattling Bones and Russ chuckles joining soon after. Black shakes his head and proceeds to walk after Jupiter with a huff. When you buffoons are finished, we will be over there. Black shakes his head and proceeds to walk after Jupiter with a huff. When you buffoons are finished, we will be over there. Doesn't need to be such a beach. Dust chuckles, earning a glare from Russ. Watch it and we won't have any fish use. Russ warns. Let's palm down, shall we? No need to make anemones. You're killing it with these puns. Guilty as charged. Sans. YN. Hurry up, you lazy bones. You're missing out on my greatness. Jupiter yells from the beach volleyball courts. Shall we? You ask, standing up. Kelp. Mars says while lazily lifting his arms up. Gripping his hands, you try to pull him up with little luck. You can do it, just gotta use a little more muscle. Russ chuckles as he watches you struggle to pull Mars up, only managing to lift his shoulders off the ground. Giving him a blank look as everyone laughs. You give pleading aura to Dust, silently asking for help. Sure, Salmon will help you, he says before teleporting away. Letting go of Mars' hand, you stare at where he was with disbelief at his betrayal. Laughing, guess we'll see ya there, Russ says before teleporting away. You relax a little now that he's gone. Lightly kicking Mars, you leaning over him. He makes grabby hands at you, which you playfully smack away. Really? Chuckling at the pun, he moves to get up. Sans. Stop keeping YN from my greatness. Jupiter yells from the court, scaring some of the nearby monsters. Must we? Mars asks, still laying in the sand. Yes. Turning on your heels, you make your way to the volleyball courts. Taking in the area, there aren't many people here. There's a handful of humans and the monsters on the other end of the beach. No one is near your group, it's almost like you have the beach to yourself. Suppose it makes sense, since it's a weekday. Most people should be at work or something. Right as you arrive at the court, Jupiter runs past you, mumbling, "Why does a skeleton as great as I have to put up with such laziness?" Bones rattling, you watch as Jupiter scoops up Mars and carries him back. You feel a bit uncomfortable about leaving their stuff unattended. Glancing behind them, you see a fluttering red speck occasionally flying around their stuff. Your aura brightens at the realization of Sun watching their stuff. Once everyone is gathered at the volleyball court, I suppose we can get started now. Black announces, gaining everyone's attention. What are we doing? Mars asks with a chuckle. We are volleying the balls, Jupiter explains. You mean volleyball? Russ clarifies. That's what I said. Sounds fun, so who's playing? There are 6 of you, so you could play 3-on-3 or 2-on-2. Well, obviously Russ will be on my team, Black states. Russ shrugs in response and makes his way to his brother's side. Jupiter turns to you with excitement in his eye sockets. And you'll be on my team, he declares happily, unknowingly triggering a flashback. A white orb slams down in front of you. Sand flying from the impact. Multiple images flash before your sockets. Bony arms being forced apart. A ribcage exploding. Bones are sent flying, scattering in the sand below. The sand covering the fallen, erasing any signs of the massacre that just happened. White flashes and sound fill your vision as voices fill your skull. Shouts, cries of pain, bones rattling, bones cracking under the pressure. People yelling, other trying to be encouraging. You're on my team. The ball is coming at you. Your skull is rolling on the ground, to be buried among the sand like all the others. Chiz. A voice cuts through the sound of balls being spiked and impacting on the sand. Peaches. The voice is filled with worry. You feel something tightly gripping your shoulders, trying to shake you from your thoughts. YN. Mars yells. Staring at him, your aura flickers as you come to. Mars is standing in front of you. Hands tightly gripping your shoulders, eyelids small from worry. Peaches? He asks hesitantly, not sure if you're back or not. Slowly you bring your hands up to pat down your body, making sure that all your bones are still there as you slowly start to calm down. Gently touching the area where your spine connects to your skull, your shoulders sag in relief. A low growl pulls you from your thoughts. Looking up, Mars is facing away from you. Following the direction he's looking in, Jupiter and Dust are standing in front you. Both in a protective stance with magic at the ready to attack. A little further away is a very tense-looking Russ and Black. Although, Black also looks a little concerned. You quickly put together what happened and pounce on Mars, shocking him out of his growling match. Dust and Jupiter turn just enough to see what's happening while keeping their eyelights on Black and Russ. Guys, it's not their fault. I was having volleyball flashbacks. You calmly explain. They're confused but haven't dispersed their magic yet. What? Dust growls out, despite the venom in his voice you can tell it's not aimed at you. Leaning over the back of Mars you sign, volleyball. It apostrophe not the best sport for a mystic skelly to play. You shiver at the last memory before shaking your head to clear it. You'd rather not think of those dark days. The magic in the air slowly disperses as they crowd around you, checking to make sure you're okay and telling the truth. Russ and Black move closer so they can see what's going on but not close enough to make the riled-up skeletons worry. How could volleying balls cause such a reaction? Jupiter asks confused, glancing back at the other two skeletons. Yeah. You sure you're okay? You were. Mars trails off his hand reaching for his empty socket. Gently you grab his hand and pull it away, rubbing soothing circles on the back of his palm with your thumb. With your free hand you sign, do any of you remember what I said last time? You ask. Not really wanting to bring up the decapitation incident while everyone is trying to get along. None of them seem to know what you're referring to. Black and Russ give you quizzical looks although, Russ is still glaring at everyone. Jupiter has a thoughtful expression but ultimately shakes his head no. Meanwhile, Dust looks like he didn't even try to remember and is waiting for you to tell him. Mars on the other hand looks like he froze in thought, like asking a computer to divide 0 by 0. My bones are held together with magnetism, similar to magnetism. It's magic that holds my bones together and allows me to move. Usually I don't have to think about it to keep my body together, but an outside force is capable of separating parts of my body. If the outside force is stronger than the magnetism of my bones, then it can easily send my bones flying. And for a competitive game like volleyball, it'll be hard to estimate the amount of force applied to the ball and how much magic I'll need to use in order to withstand the blow. You carefully explain. The last thing you want to do is go treasure hunting for your bones. They stare at you with a mix of emotions but overall you get the sense that they are worried for you. That they are viewing you as something fragile and in need of protection. Your aura dims a bit at the thought. Maybe we should do something else. Black suggests. Jupiter nods his head, I agree, let's he gets cut off by you lightly kicking him in the shin. Guys, I'm not fragile and you can still play volleyball. I'll just seat it out. Nonsense we apostrophe ll.yy/n. Will you? Stop kicking me. Pouting, you continue to lightly kick Jupiter until he's standing on one side of the court. Sighing, YN we are just try Black gets cut off by Russ tapping his shoulder and then pointing in your direction. Following Russ' finger, He sees you standing on one leg with both arms raised in a V shape with your hands angled down. Your other leg is raised while you occasionally kick it out as if threatening to kick him. Pinching the bridge of his nasal bone, he sighs heavily. Fine. But you are not playing. Jumping in celebration, you sign, of course. Smack. The ball is spiked over the net, hitting the ground with a resounding thud. Another point goes to Black, bring the score to 21-20 with Black's team in the lead. They only need 2 more points to win the set. The overall score is 2-2, whichever team wins this set will win the game. It's Mars' turn to serve as he throws the ball high into the air before spiking it over the net. His serve has a lot of power behind it, but Russ manages to save it. Russ and Mars have surprised you by actually playing and taking the game rather seriously. Black passes the ball back to Russ, who sets it up for Black to spike, but it gets blocked by Jupiter and his long arms. Russ dives to save it but comes up short. The point goes to Jupiter and Mars bring the score to 21-21 a deuce. Jumping up and down, you twirl the sign that says, "Go Mystical Skellies." During the game you made a few signs and noise makers to cheer and root for each team. Jupiter and Mars being the mystical skellies, ignoring the fact that only one looks like a mystic skeleton, and Black and Russ are the maleficent skeletons. Honestly, you don't want to cheer for us but feel it would raise unnecessary tense. So, you cheer for both teams whenever they score a point. Mars is at the net, now Sans. Jupiter calls. Mars goes in for a spike but gently pushes the ball forward, causing it brush against the net as it gently falls. Black manages to knock it up before it hits the sand, but unluckily for him Russ doesn't manage to save it. Giving another point to the Mystic Skellies, 21 adverb. Way to go, Sans. Even if that was a lazy way to play. Jupiter praises his brother. Huffing, it's called a feint. Mars explains for what seems like the 100th time. He's covered in sweat and his jacket has long since been abandoned by your side. You can tell he's reaching his limit, but to everyone's surprise he's still going. The game continues for a couple more minutes with you rooting for each team. Finally, after about 3 hours of playing, a winner is declared. With one final spike, Jupiter wins the game for the Mystic Skellies. And just in time too, Mars looks ready to pass out. Naya, hey. I knew I'd win, but you did put up a valiant effort. He offers his hand underneath the net for Black to shake. Reluctantly, he shakes Jupiter's hand before making his way off the court. Running up to Jupiter, congratulations. Why, thank you. I could have done it without your cheering, but it was appreciated anyway. He pats your head before leaving the court as well. You read. Not sure how to take that statement, but don't ponder on it for long as you hear a tired chuckle. Rushing over to the panting, sweaty mess of a skeletons, you lean over him. Congratulations. Hey, thanks. His empty eye socket is closed while his lit one is lidded. You look like shit. Dust says, also leaning over Mars, his sudden appearance making you jump. Mars weakly flicks him off, causing you and Dust to snicker. Reaching into your bag, you pull out a rejuvenation potion. Sitting on your knees, you drag Mars into your lap. Lifting him enough to allow him to drink the potion, he drinks all of it, no question asked. In a few seconds he isn't sweating or panting anymore. How do you feel? You ask, wanting to make sure that he's feeling better. He sits up, clenching his fingers and toes. Better, thanks Peaches. He says with a sweet smile, leaning in to kiss your cheekbones. Your aura brightens and pops at the action. Come on you two. It's time to procure our food. Jupiter calls from the sidelines. You consider giving a rejuvenation potion to Jupiter and Black as well, but they don't look nearly as bad as Mars did, and this way you don't have to give us any. Your group recounts the epic match you just witnessed while walking back to your bags. Sun flies over to Mars before disappearing. Jupiter and Black decide to check out the boardwalk for lunch, so everyone except you and Dust decide to go to the boardwalk to grab a quick bite to eat. As they leave, Dust grabs hold your wrist and teleports the two of you into an inflatable inner tube out in the ocean. You're laying on top of him as he leans back with sunglasses taped to his skull, fingertips brushing up against the surface of the water as the two of you drift along the gentle waves. You try to ignore the fact that you're laying against his bare chest and pull out a book from your bag. Getting comfy in his lap, you read to sound of light snoring and crashing waves. Turning the page, you check to see if the others are back yet. It's been about 15 minutes and you're almost done with the chapter. Considering joining Dust in his slumber, a shrill scream breaks the peaceful day, jolting both you and Dust. Dust mumbles something under his breath as you hastily put your book away. A monster! Someone yells far out in the distance. It sounds like it came from the boardwalk. In the next instant Dust is gone, leaving you to fall through the inner tube and into the ocean below. Falling backwards, arms outstretched, you watch as the inner tube gets further and further away. This is going to take a while, you think to yourself as you drift aimlessly with the ocean's current.
I'm glad you enjoyed that video/gameplay. Just remember to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below. Until next time, goodbye!